to have a hard conversation with black people about Diddy. A hard conversation. It's going to be very difficult because Sean Combs is not a glitch in the system. He is exactly what happens when there's no system capable of acting. And that's the first thing that every single documentary in the world will never say, because documentaries are not about justice. Understand me right here. Documentaries are not about justice. They are after action footage in a war that was never intervened. And people keep asking, how long can this happen? How can this happen for so long? That's exactly the wrong question, because the real question is, what force was ever supposed to stop it? Right, that's the real question, because there's no structure in this country that can reliably protect black women from powerful black men without simultaneously endangering the community. I'm gonna say it again. There is no structure in this country that can reliably protect black women from powerful black men without simultaneously endangering the black community. None. And so what happens instead of that? We document, we whisper, we warn quietly, we survive, we wait, and predators learn something very important in that waiting. That white society does not have the CIA because of white unity. That's not why they have the CIA. White society has the CIA because it's allowed to coordinate power. It is allowed to meet, allowed to plan, allowed to enforce, and allowed to act institutionally without that action being reclassified as criminal by default. And that difference changes everything. Because right now, there is nothing a group of black men can do together, institutionally, strategically, to stop a powerful black man that does not immediately become a criminal conspiracy. I'm just telling you the truth. If black men plan enforcement, if they meet to plan enforcement, conspiracy. If they coordinate pressure, coercion. If they restrict movement, unlawful restraint. If they intervene physically, guess what that is? Assault. If they form an internal body with teeth, gang activity. If they apply force, prison. There is no lawful internal enforcement channel in black society. Doesn't exist. There's none of that. So when people ask, why didn't somebody stop them? They're asking an impossible question. They're asking black men to use authority they are forbidden to possess. And that's the hostage situation right there. Black men are told to protect black women. Right? They are. And I understand why they say that. But the moment protection requires any of these, force, coordination, consequence, guess what happens? The state steps in, not to harm, but to stop you. So what ends up being left? Words, appeals, warnings, distance, silence, and none of those will stop a predator with money, mobility, or installation. I'm just telling you the truth, right? And black women, they're told to speak out, but speaking does not activate protection. It doesn't. It activates documentation, and documentation feeds the media. Media feeds the platforms, and guess what the platforms do? They feed the corporations. Every single time. It's straightforward because justice never even enters the loop. That's why documentaries exist, not to end harm, but to monetize the paralysis. Scandal does not threaten power. It finances it. And any exposure without enforcement is just a spotlight on an unlocked door. So I want you to really understand what I'm talking about. Because this is the last question that people say in situations about any type of predator. What could have happened? What could have been prevented? What could have been prevented that, if he was raised differently? What if the community had better values? That's what they like to say. You see how long I'm looking at you right now? I want you to focus, right? What if black men held each other accountable? That question sounds moral. It does sound clean, but it's an escape hatch built in real time because moral alignment does not create an enforcement authority. It doesn't. You can raise 10,000 good men and one insulated predator will still move freely if no one is allowed to stop him. It's the truth. There's no values problem in black society. There is a boundary of freedom problem in black society because if every black man agreed this is wrong and it must stop, there is no lawful mechanism for them to act together without being classified as criminals. That is no culture at all. It is a containment facility. And none of this is new. I'm not saying nothing new. This is a Jim Crow level crisis because back then black communities were told if you just behave better, you'd be free. But the boundary was never behavior, it was permission. Permission to gather, permission to enforce.
What's up, it's the Monster Man, man. This guy goes crazy and he goes off Diddy. He said that Diddy is a sexual predator and we need to hold him accountable. This ninja was really out of control, man. He was abusing females. He was really doing some wild shit. Because what he did to Cassie in that hallway, he beat the shit out of that poor little girl, man. And she was so naive and she was young when she got with Diddy and she's so in love with him. So she was in a relationship for so long because all of the benefit that Diddy was giving her. Diddy was giving her a record deal anything that she want, all of the fancy dates, all of the fancy jewelries. That's why Cassie was in a relationship, man. Cassie did want to leave, but Diddy won't let her. When she went and see Kid Cudi, Diddy went to his house, man, and his car got blown up, and something happened to his dog. So I don't know what Diddy was really on, but this ninja was really on some wild timing. So a lot of people are saying that Diddy is a monster, but most of these ninjas are just monsters, man. They're doing their own black race wrong. They did a lot of people wrong, and we had to hold them accountable, because no way you're gonna rob all of your artists and think that you're not gonna get some karma. Man, everyone that you did wrong in life, it is coming to come haunt you now, man. So when Diddy did that stupid shit in that hallway, he never believed that shit would see the light of day. And when he go against that liquor company, that is where shit got crazy. His house got raided, the lawsuit came out, and then lawsuits start to came out like crazy, and he could not get out of the situation no more, because he thought that he would have never go to jail. If Diddy did ever know that he would have been behind bars, he would have taken a flight to Russia or to one of those countries where he can't get extradited. But all of those stupid shit that you done, you're not the only freak in this industry. You're just the one that got caught doing this bullshit, and you got most of these sex acts on tape. So this is just crazy. You're blackmailing people, you're getting people to do freaky stuff, and you're getting them to do it against their will. And you're doing all type of wild shit, man. Drugging guys, sexually assaulting guys. He was really on some freaky timing. Because no way you're gonna get male gigolo to bang your chick and you sit and watch and masturbate, and then they rub that shit on your nipples. So you're gonna tell me that Diddy is not gay? He's not bisexual? Man, this ninja out of pocket with a freaky shit. So understand, Diddy's not in jail because he's a freak. Diddy pissed off the wrong set of people, and he thought that he was untouchable. He think that he was on top of the world. You can get humble. You need to remember that you're a black guy. The white people is the people that control the power structure, man. They control the money. They control everything that you own. They can take that shit from you. So that's why they try to pin Diddy on a RICO, sex trafficking, so that they can take his old enterprise. I saw the movement. I saw the puzzle that everyone is trying to put together. So Diddy have to be careful when he get out of this shit, because this shit is crazy. But it is what it is, man. It's the most mind. Have a blessed day.
Permission to protect, permission to act without being annihilated, and that permission it still doesn't exist. It still doesn't exist. So when people say, what if the black community was morally aligned? What if the black community was morally aligned? This wouldn't happen. Guess what they're really saying? Pretend you have power you're not allowed to hold. Pretend you have power you're not allowed to possess. And none of that is accountability. It's a fantasy used to excuse the paralysis we experience. So, the reality of it is this. Black morality has never been the limiting factor. Black authority has. Always. Always. Because you cannot raise your way out of a structure that forbids enforcement. You cannot parent your way past a system that criminalizes coordination. You cannot heal your way out of a cage you're not allowed to open. Whew. I'm sorry, bro. It's just irritating because none of this is failure at all. I'm telling you, we've been locked in a coffin. This is why this moment is more dangerous than Epstein. Right, with Diddy. Because Epstein exposed corruption inside of a system that can still turn on him. This exposes a void, a place where truth does not trigger protection, harm does not trigger force, coordination triggers punishment, and time replaces justice. That is managed paralysis. Managed paralysis. So, just so you understand the truth, there's no system in this country that allows black men to coordinate safety enforcement without going to jail. Say that to yourself. There is no system in this country that allows black men to coordinate safety enforcement without going to jail. That is the main thing, because we need to get past all that. We need to get past the documentaries, past the community accountability lectures. No, why didn't they do something? There's only one truth. There was no move. There was no move. It's not even about one man. I'm tired of this subject. It's not even about one man. This is about the place where black freedom stops. Because black men are allowed to speak free, free to warn, free to leave, and free to document. But guess what they're not do? Guess what they're not free to do? Enforce safety. Only thing a black man not allowed to do. Not together, not institutionally, not without being destroyed for it. That's the literal boundary, right? And inside that boundary are black women, right? Because truth does not save them. Never does. Morality doesn't cause consequences, and alignment never creates an authority system. There's only exposure, and there's only been waiting, and there's only been survival. That's all that's been here. We don't have a mechanism. We don't have a way to check them. And I'm going to tell you the number one fact. The number one fact we're going to need to accept. We got to hit people where they hurt. Right? Not in the legal system, because they got all them bought out. Got to hit them in their networks, in their power. You got to hit power in power. Right? That's how you deal with these people. Right? I want you to understand. Prison will never do it. It'll never get the job done. You got to hit power in power. And it's important to understand. It really